Now, this morning, a judge is denying Jay-Z's lawyer's request to identify the accuser in a Jane Doe's sexual assault lawsuit.
That are so much more important to be talking about in this case.
Jay-Z's fate took an unexpected twist when a judge slammed his lawyer's aggressive tactics, a move that could alter the course of one of Hollywood's most explosive legal battles.
Based on the allegations, Jessica, good morning, good to see
morning.
you. I think that it certainly could be. Why do I say that? Now, he, of course, is more than annoyed, would be an understatement.
Yeah.
He has a family and he has a lot to protect, including his brand. But to the extent that he's saying, hey, come after me criminally, that could be likely. Why do I say that? Because in New York, and what's alleged in this complaint is forcible compulsion. What that means in English is that it's saying that he held her down, her, and that, of course, the allegation is that Mr. Combs did the same thing. And so if those facts are actually accurate, it would require an investigation by prosecutors, and if true, right, you could pursue it criminally.
In a courtroom charged with tension, U.S. District Judge Annalisa Torres delivered a stunning rebuke that sent shockwaves through the industry.
In the lawsuit against Jay-Z, accusing him and Sean Diddy Combs of a 13-year-old girl at a party, a federal judge ruling the woman alleging the attack can remain anonymous. Morgan Norwood has the details. Morgan, good morning.
Wait, good morning. From the moment this case was filed, Jay-Z's legal team fought to get it dismissed, arguing that the woman accusing him must reveal her name. But this morning, a judge ruling she doesn't have to, at least for now. The judge also had some sharp words for its lawyers, calling them out for their aggressive filings and personal attacks and asking them to tone it down. This morning, a legal victory for the woman who is suing Jay-Z for allegedly raping her when she was 13. A federal judge ruling the woman can proceed with the case while remaining anonymous, at least for now. But the judge also chastising the lawyers representing Jay-Z, accusing them of trying to fast-track the judicial process by repeatedly filing motions to reveal the identity of the Jane Doe to have the case dismissed.
Well, a judge recently ruled an Alabama woman who says she was by Jay-Z and Sean Diddy Combs can proceed anonymously in her lawsuit for now. In her lawsuit, the woman claims she was by the two men in 2000 when she was 13 years old. She said she traveled to New York City, befriended a limousine driver who drove her to an after party for the MTV Music Awards, where she says she was eventually attacked by Jay-Z and Combs. Alex Spiro, Jay-Z's lawyer, has pointed out inconsistencies in her story, including her recalling watching the awards show on a jumbotron that was not there. And the woman's father says he does not recall driving from Rochester to pick up his daughter in New York City, as she says he did. The woman has admitted inconsistencies in her story. The judge says the woman may be required to reveal her identity at a later date if the case proceeds, allowing defense lawyers to collect facts necessary to prepare for trial.
The accuser, originally filing as Jane Doe in her suit against Sean Diddy Combs, later expanded her complaint to include Jay-Z, whose real name is Sean Carter. The lawsuit accuses the two moguls of orchestrating a series of disturbing events, alleging that they exploited her at a young age.
Rapper and music mogul Jay-Z has been accused of raping a 13-year-old girl, allegedly with Sean Diddy Combs 2 decades ago. According to US news outlet NBC, Jay-Z, whose real name is Sean Carter, is named in a civil lawsuit alongside Combs. The suit was previously filed back in October, but only titled the rapper as a defendant. It was refiled today, identifying Carter. The assault allegedly occurred at an MTV Video Music Awards after party in 2000. The anonymous accuser said she was raped by Combs and Carter while an unnamed female celebrity watched. Combs, who remains in jail awaiting trial, has repeatedly denied all the accusations against him. A short time ago, Jay-Z posted a lengthy and fiery statement on Instagram saying in part, "These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one."
After they respectfully withdrew for sanctions. Like, it's the chaotic nature of the mousetrap for me. That's just kind of making me sick. Why is this case such a big deal? Why is going after Busby for this case such a big deal? There are so many other things that are so much more important to be talking about than this case. Why don't we talk about what Alex Spiro was doing, representing pro bono the Shakur family estate, in the hopes to get to the bottom.
While Diddy now finds himself confined in a Brooklyn jail on charges ranging from sex trafficking to racketeering and sexual assault, Jay-Z's legal team has pursued an equally combative strategy. A strategy that backfired when the judge reprimanded their approach.
As for Diddy himself, as many of us know, he's been locked up on charges of federal sex trafficking, racketeering conspiracy, and transportation to engage in prostitution. Now, that last charge I mentioned, i.e. count 3 in his indictment, transportation to engage in prostitution, well, Diddy's lawyers are wanting that charge thrown out, citing it's from a racist law. Just days before Anthony Rico filed a motion to withdraw from Diddy's counsel, Diddy's lawyers filed a motion to dismiss that charge because they argue no white person has ever been the target of a remotely similar prosecution. So that charge is known as the Mann Act, which was previously named by Congress as the White Slave Traffic Act, which made it illegal to transport people across state or international lines for the purpose of prostitution. Here's the thing, Diddy's lawyer says the law has a history of racial bias. Diddy's defense seems to be gearing up toward his alleged criminal conduct wasn't criminal. It was his personal business of what was going on in his bedrooms or hotels or wherever the freak-offs occurred.
Judge Torres, in her written order, sharply criticized Spiro for his relentless filing of combative motions filled with inflammatory language and personal attacks against plaintiff's lawyer Tony Busby.
But at the end of the day, they were trying to just have this case thrown out immediately because it didn't happen, and here's all the evidence, yada yada, from this NBC News interview, which clearly Alex, I assume, had something to do with in outing this Jane Doe. But all of it, the judge wasn't having it. The judge was furious. We have the full order here. Let's go through it. On top of, not only was the judge very upset and giving a very stern warning to Jay-Z's very expensive, high-profile lawyers, Alex Spiro, they also agreed that, yes, Jane Doe can remain anonymous for now. Now, that could change. They did make a point in saying this could change, but let's go through this filing just so you can understand all that happened. All right, so going through as we get to the sort of, they basically start with the anonymity, talking about the motion to proceed anonymously. Here were all the sort of the non-exhaustive list of factors to be considered. As you can see here, 1 through, 10 of them. Here he says 1, 2, 4, and 7 weigh strongly in favor of anonymity. What are those? So let's go through. Whether the litigation involves matters that are highly sensitive and of personal nature, whether identification poses a risk of retaliatory physical or mental harm to the party seeking to proceed anonymously, or even more critically, to innocent non-parties. Then we have 4 and 7. These are the ones he particularly, whether the plaintiff is particularly vulnerable to the possible harms of disclosure, particularly in light of ages. And then number 7 here, whether the plaintiff's identity has thus far been kept confidential. Those are the ones that he said, yes, clearly those are all valid and should remain the same. But several factors weigh against the anonymity, and it goes in and sort of explain the fact that they've now sort of given media attention surrounding the case. The public has a substantial interest in this litigation, separate apart from its general interest in the accused, being able to publicly confront an accuser, etc. Nevertheless, at this exceedingly early stage in the case, the factors counseling against disclosure outweigh those of the counsel in favor of saying who the name is.
Jay-Z has claimed that this legal ordeal has cost him nearly $20 million in lost deals, a blow that came just before a major premiere for his daughter Blue Ivy. In response, Carter has filed a defamation and extortion lawsuit against Tony Busby, accusing him of unethical practices. This bitter exchange has transformed the courtroom into a battleground where every legal maneuver sends ripples through the entertainment world.
Public spectacle that defendants threatened and then created has caused Mr. Carter to suffer mental anguish, given the knowledge that Busby is trying to maliciously destroy his livelihood, his family, and continue to feel mental anguish about the ticking time bomb that Busby planted. This is more than sufficient. So, because Jay-Z says Busby's statements are not protected, and because Jay-Z claims he will prevail on his overall case, quote, for the foregoing reasons, the court should deny defendant's motion, meaning don't dismiss this case, let's move on.
Meanwhile, Diddy's legal troubles continue to mount as he faces severe charges of sex trafficking, racketeering, and sexual assault. His defense has lashed out, dismissing lawsuits as shameless publicity stunts intended to exploit vulnerabilities, further intensifying the scrutiny of every court decision.
It's obvious that if they're going to target people that are around Diddy, Jay-Z's one of the biggest celebrities that's around. He's been around him for a long time. So I think if you were going to assume that people around Diddy were going to be targeted, it was very obvious that somebody was going to say something about Jay-Z in a lawsuit.
Jay-Z issued a statement through his entertainment company Roc Nation calling the accusations, quote, heinous and urging a criminal complaint be filed instead of a civil one. He went on to say that my only heartbreak is for my family. My wife and I will have to sit our children down, one of whom is at the age where her friends will surely see the press and ask questions about the nature of these claims.
So the follow the beats here. First, Diddy is sued.
Right.
The unnamed celebrity, and at the time when we covered that, where we thought the fact that they didn't name this person sounded like they were probably reaching out to that person to try and get a settlement.
Right.
Jay-Z says that is exactly what happened, and when he turned him down, he thinks that the only reason they have now refiled this and put his name in there is retaliation for Jay-Z suing Tony Busby for extortion. So this is going around and around, but a very strong denial from Jay-Z.
It is, and it's look, we've seen, and not just in this Diddy situation, we've seen a lot of cases in the past where celebrities have been accused of wrongdoing. This hardly ever happens, Charles, where you see the person under fire, the celebrity, fire back and this intensely.
The saga deepens as Beyoncé now faces her own legal battle. Sources reveal that Beyoncé is incensed by the lawsuit, fearing it could further destabilize an already volatile legal landscape.
Days after a civil lawsuit alleging her husband Jay-Z and notorious rap mogul Sean Diddy Combs was withdrawn, Beyoncé is now involved in a new case. Artist Melvin Moore is suing the singer's Parkwood Entertainment for copyright infringement, alleging that Chloe Bailey, a signer of the label, utilized his work in numerous tracks without his consent. Moore, who goes by Forrest Forrest, filed a lawsuit in New York on Thursday, claiming deceptive business tactics, civil conspiracy, violations of the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, DMCA, and false misrepresentation. In the court filings, the 39-year-old Grammy nominee asserts that he contributed substantial original lyrics, melodies, and creative direction to several master recordings for Bailey's August album Trouble in Paradise. Favorite, Might As Well, and Same Lingerie were among the recordings in question.
After her record company label, Parkwood Entertainment, was sued for copyright infringement. And artist Melvin Moore claimed Chloe Bailey, who is signed to the record label, used his work without permission in several of her songs. The lawsuit against Beyoncé's label comes a week after her husband, Jay-Z, secured a legal victory after an unnamed woman who accused him of dropped her lawsuit against him. Y'all, let's continue to read. Let's get... Oh my goodness. On Thursday, which was yesterday, on Thursday, Moore, also known as Forrest, filed a lawsuit in New York accusing Parkwood Entertainment of fraudulent misrepresentation.
These interconnected legal battles create a web of allegations, aggressive tactics, and high stakes that could redefine Hollywood's power structure. At the center of this maelstrom is Judge Annalisa Torres, whose refusal to be swayed by forceful legal maneuvers underscores a commitment to protecting vulnerable voices.
I am deeply honored to stand here today in support of Annalisa Torres' nomination to the United States 6th District Court for the Southern District of New York. I also want to thank President Obama for acting on my recommendation and nominating another superbly qualified female jurist to the federal bench. I know Judge Torres as a fair-minded woman of great integrity. Her lifetime of public service and legal experience, serving as a jurist, an attorney, and serving her community has earned her the respect of her colleagues. Her body of work demonstrates her qualifications to serve on the federal bench. Since 2000, she has served as a judge in various courts, including the Criminal Court of the City of New York, and in 2012, she was elected to a 14-year term as a New York State Supreme Court Justice. Judge Torres has previously worked in private practice as a law clerk and as a teacher.
Now this morning, a judge is denying Jay-Z's lawyer's request to identify the accuser in a Jane Doe's sexual assault lawsuit. Jay-Z, whose real name is Sean Carter, denies those claims. He alleges she was 13 years old when the rapper and Sean Diddy Combs raped her during the VMAs after party back in 2000. The lawsuit was filed in October, and Carter's name was added to the complaint on December 8th. Both Carter and Combs have denied the woman's claims, and while the case will move forward anonymously, the victim there could always revisit that decision later on.
As the legal clock ticks toward the next critical hearing in Los Angeles, one burning question remains. Will this decisive judicial blow ultimately send Jay-Z to prison? Or is it merely the opening move in a long, unpredictable legal war? Every new filing and every courtroom showdown brings us closer to uncovering the truth behind these explosive allegations.
When it comes to the Rock Nation statement that put out that they said was Sean Carter's statement, they say that wasn't his statement. That was more of his lawyer's statement. Where do you lie with that truth? Like, was that Jay saying, "Hey, let me tell them what I want," and you just use ChatGPT to make it sound good or something?
I mean, it sounds about the same as his Grammy speech.
Okay. Okay.
Blah, blah, blah. But there were a few things that was said that I was very surprised about. Especially Yellow Beezy. I was very surprised that he even would acknowledge the fact that he knows Yellow Beezy.
Reflecting on these events, it's clear this is more than a celebrity scandal. It's a collision of power, privilege, and the unyielding quest for justice. Judge Torres's bold decision to protect a vulnerable accuser challenges the tactics of Hollywood's elite and forces us to confront tough questions about accountability and the true cost of fame. For Jay-Z, whose empire and personal life have been shaken by these allegations, every courtroom battle carries the weight of his legacy and reputation.
My experience with Judge Torres has shown her to be fair-minded, a woman of great integrity. Her lifetime of public service and legal experience serving as a jurist, an attorney, and serving her community has earned her the respect of her colleagues, and her body of work demonstrates her qualifications to serve on the federal bench. Ms. Torres currently serves as a justice on the New York County Supreme Court. Previously, she served on the New York County Supreme Court as acting justice for almost 10 years. In her current role, she exemplified pragmatism and has demonstrated a consistent commitment to thoughtful, sound, and fair reasoning. Judge Torres received her JD from Columbia University School of Law and graduated from Harvard College. In addition to her professional work, she has shown an enduring commitment to her community. She currently chairs the Women's Housing and Economic Development Corporation, a role she has served in since 2007, after serving as a director there for almost a decade. There's no question that Judge Torres is extremely well qualified and well suited to serve on the as a federal court judge.
Meanwhile, Diddy's legal woes and Beyoncé's emerging lawsuit add even more complexity to this tangled web, leaving fans and critics questioning if a larger reckoning is on the horizon.
Do you believe wholeheartedly that Jay's your father?
I really do. And if it's not, why you can't prove me wrong? Like, it's not far as a proving me wrong thing. It's go to the courtroom and basically do what everybody else would have to do. Like, it's not, you don't have to prove me wrong. I just want the truth. Honestly, I can take a no. I can take, if I'm embarrassed at the end of the day, I can take that. I really can. I've been through a lot, I've seen a lot. I could take me being embarrassed. Like, just can't take nobody not saying nothing. Like, you know, it's not fair. I was 7. My mom had to sit down with me. I guess she thought I was old enough to know now, and she been saying Sean Carter, that's what she was calling him at first before she was calling him Jay-Z, and I really didn't know who that was because I was young and, you know, had my little brother, and I really wasn't worrying about it. She was saying it a lot, but I really just was going along with the person I was just seeing, like the person I looked at who was taking care of me at that time. I really wasn't.
Will Judge Torres's explosive ruling finally bring down the empire of one of hip-hop's most influential moguls?
Rumors all start with a grain of truth. Now that this new lawsuit against Jay-Z has dropped, and after his defensiver AF response, the squeaky clean rep of Jay-Z and Beyonce isn't so shiny anymore. And as one of the most powerful couples in the world, Jay-Z and Beyonce, it's getting harder to believe that they didn't have have some level of knowledge of Diddy's crimes, let alone the ones they're dealing with now. The king and queen may fall from their throne, and if they do, we'll be here to cover it all.
If you're hungry for every jaw-dropping development in this landmark case, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because the truth is unfolding, and you won't want to miss a single moment of what's coming next.